Hello everyone, welcome back to Rolling Solo. My name is Adam Smith, and we are in the finale of the 7th Continent. That's right, this is going to be the last episode of the playthrough for the 7th Continent because of spoilers. As of right now, in the past few videos that we've been doing here on the channel, we've reached the point of grabbing a submarine and traveling across to the 7th Continent, although we haven't landed yet. We will be in this episode, and we'll do a little bit exploring on the actual 7th Continent itself, but that's where we're going to stop. And from this point on, really, the purpose of these videos was to give you guys an idea as to whether or not this was a game that would interest you. If you're on the fence of whether to purchase or not to purchase, hopefully this was informative to help you decide whether this was a game that would fit your style of play. So, with that in mind, we're going to move right into the playthrough for this finale, and I'm really excited because this has been I personally enjoyed this quite a bit, and I would say that I'm a pretty strong proponent of the game. I think it's very cool and has very interesting choose your own adventure style mechanics. So I'm really excited to see what comes next, but again, I want you guys to be able to explore that stuff on your own if you are able to pick up a copy. And don't forget that this is currently still on Kickstarter, so if you haven't had a chance to back it and you want to, you better get to Kickstarter and jump in on it now, because it is coming down to the, I don't think it's down to the wire just yet, but it's getting there. So you want to make sure you get in if you do want a copy of the game. Now, where we were last time, we were kind of partially through resolving this particular card. We're in a sub. We were supposed to return all cards on the board and in the past, and then banish a green 17 card. So I've already done all that. I've banished the 17 card. As you can see, everything else card-wise is gone. The entire island that we were on, those two islands, have totally disappeared. We are now just in our sub heading towards land. Now, in the last video, I asked for a poll, and I want to thank everybody who was able to put a vote in there because it helps shape what we're going to do next, whether we're playing 038, 132, or 198. Now, based on the popular choices, the most popular two were North, Northwest, and just True North, essentially. So at the end of it, when I looked at the results, it was quite funny because this is the first time I've ever seen such an even or closely contended results across the three, with two of them being a little bit more popular than the others, but honestly, there wasn't a true winner. But True North, or just going north, was actually the one that came out on top. So based on the way I've been following the results currently in this playthrough, I will definitely be going that route. So let's do it. The next thing we want to not forget is to go ahead and grab that particular card that actually applies to which direction we've chosen. So we've chosen to head north, so we're going to be pulling 132. So let's do that. Let's find out what exactly 132 has for us. So this is going to be really exciting because this is going to be, well, it's going to be a totally different, oh, there we go, 132, that was quick. So we'll go ahead and read this story piece here and move right into it. So essentially, thematically, we're still on our sub. H.P. Lovecraft is ready to make landfall at the 7th Continent, and here we go. The area appears to be clear of any danger. However, a few fresh tracks suggest that some animals have passed through here recently. Okay, so what do we have? Oh, we've got ourselves the 7th Continent. As you can see from the bottom, it looks like we've got a shore area there. Then we got some grass or plains area in the middle. Got some trees around that, got a little bit of rocks or cliffs, and then it looks like even a little touch of snow in the top of the card, so that's really interesting. So there's a lot to think about and kind of observe in this particular card. As you can see on the card, it even has a bush there, which could potentially mean that there's food, or maybe that's a rock with some kind of algae on it or some type of plant life on it. There's obviously some prints here to the right. So when I was talking about wildlife, it looks like they headed off to the 131 direction. An interesting thing to note is the first time we've ever seen the resource foliage, so that's cool. It's going to allow us to particularly build certain things with that particular resource at a cheaper cost. However, right now I don't have anything except the bow and the raft, and neither of them need that. Movement off the square is going to be 1+ to get past. So we'll go ahead and put this in play. Of course, we no longer need this as a timed event. We've resolved it completely. We'll put our figure onto it. That's exactly what it says at the bottom. Each player places their figure onto it, and we are now officially on the 7th Continent. Very cool. All right, so from here, really, we have a number of choices, nothing too crazy, but we need to do a couple things before we make our choices, and that is to follow the regular Roman numeral numbers and ensure that we put out the cards that should be there. So we're going to go to our decks here. We're going to quickly go to number 2, and we're going to grab 2 cards. Now, you'll notice there's a humongous pile of cards here, so I'm just going to randomly grab 2 because you're not supposed to pick them up in any order, and this also ensures you guys know that I don't know what's coming. And that's how I like to do my playthroughs. I don't do anything staged or anything set up in advance. I like to see it happen, and I like to see your guys' comments and reactions to what's actually going on in real time, as well as my own, being surprised as to what happens. So we've got 2 directions here. We can go left or right, and then up here we have an observe action. So this is 074. So that seems to be probably the one we should try first, just to see whether or not there's potentially something there worth talking about. So I'm going to do that. I'm actually going to truck my guy over here, and we just have to pull 1 action card and get 0 successes. Now, before we do this, there was one individual in the last video that I believe mentioned that we should craft our bow. And we probably should do that. Knowing that we heard on the card there was animals, I think it makes sense. Now, we do still have the blowpipe, remember, and it still has 1 durability, but I think it would make sense to craft the bow. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to craft the... Oh, maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm not, actually. No, I've got the blowpipe for 1 more attack. That's good enough. Then we'll get the bow in play. So never mind. I'm going back on that thought. Let's just go check out the observation first and see what potentially is here. So we're going to go for 1 card at the bare minimum, flip it over, and we've got panpipes. Interesting. So panpipes is going to give us a success, although we didn't need a success to pass this check, and I can keep this if I want to. This card will help me out with musical actions. Let me just make sure I'm calling this correctly. Yes, play music, starting a fire apparently with panpipes. So that's pretty cool. Oh, it makes sense actually. Maybe blowing on the fire itself to start it quicker. And then this is like a think action, I think. Yeah, think or compose yourself action, and it gives you these benefits. So these are really cool cards, and you know what? I was talking, or there was an individual in the prior videos who mentioned something very, very true. We have this card, Dark Regeneration, and we've had it in our hand for quite some time, and it only really affects my character when they're freezing, frightened, hungry, nauseated, or tired, and none of those things apply. So I'm going to toss this one, and I'm going to take the panpipes into my hand, so that we keep our hand limit at 5, and I can always remember that card back in the situation where we actually need it. So now I've got a few more options in terms of crafting, which is probably more useful in the long run. So at this point now, we can go ahead after successfully doing that check and go grab 74. I'm really excited for this. So here we go. Let's find out what is at 74. There's only 1. Well, there's 2, but 1's green, so we've got to read that one first. Animal spore and some tufts of fur on the nearby rocks indicate animal activity of some kind. And that makes sense. That's what those tufts of fur maybe were on the rock there. You hide and wait in ambush, ready to pounce on any potential prey. So we're essentially going and hiding up here in the weeded areas and stuff like that, in the bushes, in order to hide. And what does it say here on the bottom? It is a one-time event, and it looks like we're going to be doing some hunting. So depending on the number of successes you obtain, take the corresponding number of 150 cards. And then, of course, you do a bunch of stuff after that. So we have to go ahead and make this check if we want to actually go hunting, which I do. I think getting some food at this point would make a lot of sense because we have quite the discard pile mounting up over here. So in order to get that back on track, we should. So let's do it. Now we have to pull 2 action cards, but there's no plus beside it, meaning that we can't pull any additional, but it is a target symbol icon, and I do have my trusty blowpipe with 2 successes. So before we even begin, I'm going to use up the last durability, meaning that my blowpipe will have broken or fallen apart after I take this shot. I'm going to get 2 successes off the blowpipe, which is great because that's going to automatically guarantee that I have a chance to get 2 150 cards. I just need to pull 1 more success when I go ahead and pull these 2 action cards. So here we go. Let's take our 2 action cards and hope for the best. So we're flipping this one over. We've got ourselves a torch. Okay, so a torch. Yeah, all right. It's torch. It's half a star. Not exactly what we wanted, but... And a curse. Classic. Okay, so This is bad, and the reason this is bad is I didn't get any successes here. This is a flat-out fail on the hunting attempt. However, we know curses can be used in H.P. Lovecraft's main character ability to discard a Serenity card. The ironic thing about this is I just discarded the Dark Regeneration card, which has the Serenity keyword, so that was embarrassing. But also, I'm just noticing right here that the panpipes actually have the keyword Serenity. Perfect. So I could discard this one, and I think I might, because again, if I really need it, I'll use that Remember card to bring it back. I can't possibly get anything else in order to give myself a success. The only other thing I could do, instead of throwing away the panpipes, is to do this one right here, which says you may discard this during the result step of an action you are involved in order to apply the following effect. This would give me 1 star. So maybe I'll do this instead. So I'm gonna actually discard this one instead, meaning that now when I have a choice of the two that I drew to pick from, I'm obviously going to keep the torch. Now I've got really good options here for crafting: torch, bow, panpipes, and a raft. Plus I've got the Remember to bring a majority of my cards back in my hand later. The curse is now discarded. But the cool thing is that's 3 successes total. So 1, 2 from the blowpipe, and then 1 from the card I just tossed in the discard pile, which was in my hand originally. That gives me 3 successes, which is going to give me 2 150 cards. So we're going to go into the deck here and take a look. We're going to grab the very first 2, because I've already shuffled all these, so they're already random. I know there was someone in a prior video who said, you got to take those randomly. I just want you guys to know that I never talked about this, but I've already gone ahead and shuffled any piles of card numbers that have more than 1. Obviously, the gold stay at the back. So everything's always random, and I never know what's coming. So that's the fun part. Okay, here we go. So we got 2 cards, 150. It says right here to reveal them if at least 1 involved character is bloody. A bunch of stuff happens. We'll see if that even occurs. Okay, what do we got? A white hare. You spot a species of long-haired albino rabbits. Cool. So that even fits thematically into the area based on the foliage there and the rocks and the snow area and stuff like that. So that's really cool. It even matches exactly what that looks like up where I am. So very, very thematic and cool. And then 150, the other one is, mole rat. A pale, flaccid-skinned rodent emerges from the ground. That is disgusting. And again, with this one, if I wanted to keep it, I'd have to do an action to try to kill it. I am not going to do that. So because of this, if I'm looking at this correctly, it says reveal them if at least 1 involved character is bloody. I'm not bloody at all. Then you have to discard one of these cards without the keyword predator, so that doesn't apply to me. Then you choose one of the following, one of the remaining cards, which represents the result of your hunt. So essentially, out of these 2, I have to choose which one I want, and I'm definitely choosing the white hare. It's just an easier route to go, and I don't have to worry about fighting anything because I don't have even a blowpipe or anything with a sword action, which I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with. The sword action actually states that it's a fight action. I haven't had one of those yet, but I don't want this, guys. So do I return this one or do I discard it? It's the question. Return the other card. Yes, you do return this back. So I'm going to toss this back in. Of course, if we have to pull from that again, I'll have to shuffle that. But for now, we're going to take our 2 number 1 cards. So we'll go into our deck here and grab a couple number 1 cards. And I think we know what these are from past experiences. So you start to get a little familiar with some of the ones. But hey, we've got some meat here, so that's great. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually put these both into my inventory right away because I do have 2 dice free. So I'm going to be shuffling this up. Now this is the first time I've ever done this, but I'm going to combine these cards. And this is something you're allowed to do when the keywords match. You can go ahead and when there's a similar keyword between, you can combine them. And then the durability of the item goes up by the amount of the die. So 1, and then if you attach this one with the same keyword that matches, it goes up by another 1, giving you 2 durability. The reason you do that is for situations where you don't want to burn all your dice. I haven't run into those situations during the playthrough just yet, but this is getting more into the advanced hand management and inventory management. That is going to come into play as you go further into the 7th continent. Okay, so this is a timed event, the white hare, judged by the wonderful hourglass on the top. So this is now gone into the past. And we are going to take a quick look, and it says right here, now we go ahead and do our swap from green to gold. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at 74, and apparently now we're going to go grab 74 gold, I guess, is what it's saying. So that's kind of cool. I don't know what result will come of that, but hopefully it's a good one. What does this say? You notice what looks like some older animal tracks. The tracks may not be the freshest, but with some patience and the appropriate equipment, you hope to be able to catch some game. Interesting. Well, let's see what happens. Wait, I guess the question is, am I supposed to read this one right now or not? Am I messing this up? Because this would be sitting here, and it's now done event. Then it says go from green to gold. I don't know necessarily if 74 is the right one to pull here. Maybe it's, I could be wrong, but maybe it's the other version of 132, possibly? Like something else changes on the map? I don't think so. Sorry guys, I might be totally messing this one up here as I try to remember if I'm doing this correctly. No, there's no 132, so I guess I am going to the next one. So yeah, this one disappears. It says return the other cards and then swap this one out for the gold one. So I'll do it and we'll go with it because that's what it says. Not gonna fight it. All right, so again, I already read this for you guys. I'm gonna flip this over. And we got ourselves, depending on the... Okay, so it's another hunting... Oh, okay, so basically we could come back here as a huntable area, I guess, and potentially do some more hunting. So essentially, we're not forced into this action right now, but essentially it says you can come back, try to do it again, and you'll notice that things have gotten progressively more aggressive in terms of trying to get some more food, but the hope would be is we come back and do that at a later time and possibly have more of an attack against these enemies in order to get more successes and things like that. So... something we don't want to do right now. The blowpipe is also discarded because I broke it when I tried to use it, and I did successfully shoot that hare, but then the poor blowpipe broke. So I am here. So now at this point, we're still on this particular part of the land, and I have to figure out what exactly I'm going to do next. So what we're going to be doing next is we're going to be probably traveling to the left or the right. So that's the next question, is which one do I do? Let's see, I'm thinking probably let's go to the... Oh, this is tough. We know there's animals and weird critters off to the right, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go this way. So we're going to flip this card. We're going to head off in this direction. It's going to cost me 1 to travel, but it costs me nothing to actually go ahead and do a pathfind action always, so I can flip this over. What do we find here? Juvenile rockworms. Oh, it's a temporary event. So 2 chubby worm-like creatures are laboriously crawling around about 100 feet away. From this distance, they do not look particularly menacing, but you never know. Apply the following effect twice. Put 1 juvenile rockworm figure into play on the card that will replace this. If it is not a terrain card, put the figure into play on the active player's terrain card instead. Ugh. If no juvenile rockworm figure is available, move 1 that is... Oh, geez. Take a 4/8/4 card from the adventure deck if available. Oh, geez. Okay, so this is what this is going to is an expansion. So this is going to be one of these situations where we're bringing in something that I've never used before, never seen before, but it's these little guys that come from the 7th Continent expansion. So these little guys are going to be starting to mess around with me. So this is a card that was not part of the base game, but it's part of one of the expansions. And so this is going to be interesting to try to do this correctly. Put 1 juvenile rockworm figure into play on the card. That will replace this. Okay, so I'm going to grab the 4/8/4 card first, because that's what it says to do. So I'm a little scared here. I'm going to have to make sure I do this in the correct order. That'll be the biggest thing. So I got a 4/8/4 here. What does it say on this? A juvenile rockworm wriggles its smooth, slimy, and stodgy body along the ground. Okay, cool. So that's there. Let me just make sure there's nothing else I have to do here. So put 1 figure into play that will replace... It says to apply the following effect twice, so that means 2 of them. Put 1 juvenile rockworm figure into play on the card that will replace this. The card that's going to replace this one is going to be, 54, my mistake, that's what it is. So let's grab 54 first and resolve the new location tile first, so we know it's there. So 54, what is there is the wind whistles through the boss of the tall pines, carrying both the scent of sea spray and a faint underlying smell of rot. Oh, they could be coming from the rockworms. That makes perfect sense. So we're going to go ahead and put this card into play. So there is our other location. And then now, based on this timed event, it says put the juvenile rockworm figure into play on the card that will replace this, which is this one. and blah, 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 doesn't really matter. So basically both of these guys are going to end up boom, boom. We're going to have 2 of these guys on this particular tile. So the question becomes, do I really want to go there? Then we take 484 card from the adventure deck available. So now this is going to go away. So I'm going to take this card and throw it away. We've got some interesting things happening here. So let's read this next card, which says, a juvenile rockworm wriggles its smooth, slimy body across the ground. This is going to be bad. Okay, what does this say? When there is a juvenile rockworm figure on your train card, you may neither move to another train card nor save the game, but you can take one of the following actions. Okay, so you can remove the juvenile rockworm figure or take a 101 card and a 469 card, each involved, and then okay, so you do that check, and then there's a plus or there's a fail, pass or succeed and fail. And the other one is a symbol I've never seen before called offer, coax, or tame. Remove the juvenile rockworm figure and take a 486 card from the adventure deck if available. Otherwise, it spits acid at you. Oh my gosh. So basically, if you try to go to a spot with a juvenile rockworm, they're basically blocking the card that they're on, which is not good because it says you can't move. It says you may neither move to another train card nor save the game. So as of right now, I can move, but if I was to move into here, I'm stuck here forever until I deal with them. So really, I don't want to be anywhere near them right now because I'm not really powerful enough to do any of these 2 attacks. And you can see there's a little book symbol up here for Satchel and Journal. So this stays with me as something I can essentially activate anytime I'm on the same tile as those guys. So this has changed my whole outlook. I've now revealed that, and I really don't want to go that way anymore because they're there. So this is really cool because the expansion adds this in, and it was not part of the base game. So now what they're essentially doing is blocking up that area, making it tougher for me to explore. So I'm going to have to maybe check out this spot. He's changing his mind. HP Lovecraft is a chicken, and he's going to go off to this side, flip this one over. Okay, what does this one say? A vicious bird. This is not turning out good. A very large and aggressive bird shrieks loudly as it swoops towards you. Each involved character may discard any number of cards with the keyword aggressiveness from their hand or inventory. For each card discarded this way, you get a success. Cool. Do I have aggressiveness anywhere? No, I don't. I have music, I have craft, I have will, and I have vengeance. None of those apply. So that's no good. Okay, so I'm going to have to make this check. And the check is I can take as many cards as I want. It's essentially a fight action. Probably should have had my bow on me. Would have been a good decision. So basically what I could do in this situation is I could potentially craft my bow in order to have it handy for when I go to attack this guy. So that could be interesting. Do I do that or not? Probably should. Ugh, gross. Okay, so this is another thing that I might have cheated on the last time I played this guy, something you guys should be aware of. When one of these events show up like this, a timed event, it's something that has to be immediately done. So at this point in time, because I didn't take the time to craft the bow that was in my hand to use for a potential attack against this guy, I can't now just craft it because I now know the vicious bird is there. So that's something to be aware of. I think I might have broke that rule once in one of the prior videos, but essentially if a time event comes up, I resolve it now. So I have to try to get 3 successes with nothing in terms of attacks. I have the ability to use, like there is an attack symbol on this and on the walking stick, but it just reduces the number of cards I'm pulling, and that doesn't help me. I still need 3 successes. So let's do this. I need 3 successes. I'm going to pull 4 cards at least. I might even go, no, let's go 4. 4 is good. Here we go. Okay, 2.5. That's great. We've got 2, we've got 3, and we got 4. Incredible. So we were able to actually beat this particular bird, which means we do get a 001, which means we actually killed it off, which is a meat. So thank goodness. I'm going to go ahead and attach this on and increase the durability up to 3 now. That's awesome. This bird is now dead and removed. And that area is now open. Of course, I have to put the 131. We were at the end of the playthrough, guys. I am so sorry I can't go any further. But this is as far as I'm going to go. I want you guys to know that I had a blast playing this. I hope this was enjoyable for you guys. I'm really excited for my upcoming playthroughs. I've got Nemo's War. I've got Fire Team Zero, a bunch of other ones. Anyway, if it's first time here, subscribe, like. I will see you in the next one. Keep on rolling solo.